right back chance, definitely.
Big up everybody tuned in. Smash the like button. Let's have a great night. We get back to bed now. Game really knows the always just that active red light. Defending, I think, is like. Always just that active red light. Defending, I think, is like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on. Big up Ian, right? Every time on that one. People deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for being tuned in. If you're a regular follower, again, as we get to the end of the year and we consider the journey we've been on, your support is appreciated. If you're new here, follow the social, smash the like button, do all of that good stuff. Big up to you, whether you're on LinkedIn, madness, isn't it? LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. We're here, innit, people. Any conversations, talking points, differences of opinions, they're all welcome, people. Throughout this, we're obviously going to go over what Mikel Arteta has said, because tomorrow is Armageddon, it's Judgment Day. Arsenal step towards Anfield. Hopefully, we're able to get 3 points in that regard. And yeah, man, as we approach silly season, it's now time to think about transfers. And actually, the actual mic that I need on. Thank you. I should sound a lot more sexier now. You get it, Gally? I know you lot are happy, man. It's lit. It's lit. Apologies for that technical mishap. Big up, Graham. If Arsenal were thinking of spending a large chunk of money on a striker, surely it would be feasible to spend that on strengthening other areas if they aren't pursuing a striker until the summer. Graham, I think you're bang on the money. I think a striker is what we'd like. I think a striker, you know, in an ideal world, a striker would be all we're focusing on. You know, I slightly disagree with that because midfield, but if you look at how the season kind of played out, there was a point us Arsenal fans heading into January is like, you know what, priority striker, maybe another winger to ease the workload on Bukayo Saka. Then with the injuries going to happen to Thomas Partey, the language started to go towards midfield. Now you're probably seeing it's more defensive bodies, and I think midfield and defense are priorities. Obviously, strikers win goals, win games. You know, a striker would take us up a new level. A man that can get 20, 25, 30 league goals would not be amiss. But that looks, if it can be done in the summer, I mean, in January, who wouldn't want that? But I'm of the belief that's a summer thing. If there's a market opportunity, if there's a willingness to get deals done, then I think Arsenal will pursue it. But I think midfield and central midfield and a defensive body, it needs to happen. I don't think we've got enough there to cope with injuries. Even if Declan Rice, who never gets injured, you know, he's human. If he has a loss of form or injuries, we're in problems. Obviously, if Declan Rice goes and plays centre-back, so, you know, due to the lack of bodies, who is in midfield? Yes, you've got Martin Odegaard. Kai Havertz, his form is turning around. But then there's a knock-on effect, really, and then there'll be somewhat of a missing link. I personally don't think we have enough strength in depth. Yes, if people are fit, it changes things. But me, I don't think we have enough strength in depth in the center of the park, really and truly. Defensively, if everybody's fit, I think we're all right. But I just said it there. If everyone's fit, you know, if we want to be a team that competes in 3 or 4 trophies, and there's a lot of Premier League games, and there's games coming every week, we need a squad in it. If anything happens to Saliba, Gabriel, Benjamin White, we're treading carefully, really and truly. We're in trouble. Even Zinchenko, whatever people have to say about him, man. Just followed you on LinkedIn. Appreciate that, my guy. Appreciate that. Follow up the thing, man. What's today's lies in the press? We're going to get into that in a sec, man. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. Big up you lot. But Graham, you're bang on the money. Like, I do think, you know, the priorities is midfield. Again, I don't know. Mikel Arteta, never had a conversation with him. Would love it. I personally think if you ask him, I think his priority would be bringing in another defender, whether that's a right back or a right-sided centre-back that can fill in that right back, maybe a left back, maybe someone like Timber and Tomiyasu that can cover kind of multiple roles in the back line. I think he more wants that than a central midfield. I think he's kind of cool, you know, to wait for Partey to get fit, to Kai Havertz's form has turned around. Obviously, the Smith Rowe's, the Fabio Vieiras, they're going to be fit soon. Well, Smith Rowe is fit, obviously. For how long, we don't know. I think the one position Arsenal would like to address in January, if nothing more, would be defence. For me, I think we need another central midfielder. If I'm honest, I think central midfield needs to be sorted between January and actually the summer, because big up my regular supporters. There's a running joke since I started making Arsenal content on YouTube, and now obviously on the other platforms. Smash the like button and join the discussion. I've said, all I keep saying is central midfield, and I know it's a bit harsh, but Arteta, you was a central midfielder towards the latter stages of your career. Edu, you was a central midfielder. Obviously, defense, I think we've got some good options there up front, or attackers. I think we could upgrade. Clearly, I would love another winger to compete with Saka, or deputise if Martinelli and Trossard aren't really at it. We'd all love a striker, but I think, quote unquote, the traditional attackers, the Trossards, the Martinellis, the Sakas, the Nelsons, whatever people say, the Nketiahs, the luxury of even Kai Havertz, Martinelli and Trossard all playing up front. I won't quite go as far as to say I believe we have enough, but I think we could do a thing there. Central midfield, there's more questions than answers, really. And how long is it going to be until we see that next level Declan Rice? Obviously, while we haven't sorted out midfield, whether he's going to become an 8 or we're going to change the way he plays that 6. Not gonna lie, DG, you've been right all along, though. I don't know about that, but I hear that, man. I like the video. Big up yourself, Terry, as well. I liked the video earlier with Jess. I was laughing when she suggested we get rid of Eddie without properly replacing. I think your jaw dropped and you were making your argument against. Big up Jess, man. And that's the beautiful thing about football, innit? Make sure you lot check that out and obviously follow her on her YouTube channel, amongst other things. She knows Arsenal. That's the beauty of football. We see it differently. Me personally, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Boom, January the 1st. Brentford, Crystal Palace, whoever is linked with Eddie Nketiah, if they say, DG, we'll take Eddie off you for 30-40 million quid, I'm not gonna lie. My eyes are gonna light up. I'm gonna get aroused, like to say Kelly Rowland's taking me on a date or something. But I think when you sit down, whatever you say about Eddie, for me, it does not make sense. It doesn't. Mikel Arteta came out the other day and said, once you hit February, March, April, we need 20 odd players. If we're not bringing in a striker, what sense does it make letting Eddie go? Summer thing, in my opinion. Everybody who's here, obviously I'm open to letting everyone go, assuming we replace, but it's a summer thing. Is there a case for Smith Rowe to go? Eddie Nketiah, Thomas Partey, Jorginho, Aaron Ramsdale, Mohamed El Nene? Feel free to interject any names I've missed out. In fact, Cedric, I'm lying. You can cut in January, but even that, I don't really believe it. And you know me, I defend every fullback, his fullback union. I don't really believe it with Cedric, but even him, I don't think it makes sense to let him go if you don't bring in another defensive body. Whatever people say about Eddie Nketiah, would I give him the number 14 shirt? Do I think he should be our second choice striker, or if anything happens with Jesus, he's there? 100% I don't, but I do think Eddie Nketiah is not the levels we require, but I think he gets a lot of hate. Evidently, he's limited. The link-up play is not quite crisp and as silky and as fast and free-flowing when he's played. But there's been times he's come in and done a job. I do think he's improved. He's gone from being on the peripheral of things at Arsenal to a first-team regular. I do think his general play is improving and things like that. So if we're not bringing in a striker in January, this is the squad that in August these lot betted on. So I don't think it makes sense, really. In the summer, Eddie, one love, in it, really and truly. And again, if you get an offer, then it is what it is, but there's a lot of football to be played. And again, injuries, we've been coping with them since August. We never know when they're going to strike. Arsenal tax. So I believe we kind of have to be optimistic people stay fit, but we need to be prepared, really. And we've done actually quite well to be ticking along to this point with all the injuries. Every week somebody is missing a 1 week, a 2 week. There's illness. There's obviously been big injuries to Gabriel Jesus, Thomas Partey, Fabio Vieiras been under the knives. Timber, it feels like so long ago. And there's probably a couple of others. Benjamin White's been playing with a knock, for example. Declan Rice at the start of the season. William Saliba allegedly as well. So we need depth. I don't quite believe this, but you can never have too many players in it. And I think we've seen the theme of the last 2, maybe even more seasons. But when we lost out on top 40 Spurs, when we lost out on the Premier League last year, I think there are other reasons. But one small ingredient in the cocktail as to why we didn't win the league is because obviously we couldn't cope with key players missing. If you're not going to come into this club and be a ceiling raiser, just make sure the floor doesn't drop indirectly. Obviously, the team is advancing. Smith Rowe, for example, has gone from being one of the first names on the team sheet to on the peripheral things. At a point, Tomiyasu was the same. If we get another left back, Zinchenko might be that. Gabriel Jesus might be that. They get a lot of football and rotation options, but they might become kind of squad players. And that just means the floor doesn't drop really and truly. If you have obviously it's not feasible, but if you've got players that start at a lot of Premier League teams or top 5 divisions, then we've got a stronger squad. There's a lot of good players. As I said, there's very few players I don't believe in this Arsenal team. Cedric is one of them, and the rest of them are on loan, with the exception of Tierney and a couple of others. But you look at, and I'm not asking I'm not asking people to be Declan Rice, Saka, or Saliba, but we need to kind of get those sort of players that have an air of reliability about them. They're the three that for me anyways, play a level above everybody else. Obviously, I would say, people can say what they want about Odegaard. I think Odegaard is central to Mikel Arteta's system. I think Zinchenko's got a lot of limitations, but I think he brings something. I keep saying, I think Big Gabriel is our most underappreciated player, in my opinion. Big up Kai Havertz, but I don't know how you've got a chant being here 2 minutes. Gabriel's been part of the furniture. He still ain't got no chant. There's a couple of players like in that kind of realm. Gabriel Jesus as well, Martinelli in there as well. Below that, I'm a big fan of what Smith Rowe used to be, but Smith Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, Fabio Vieira, Jorginho, you'll see 4 or 5 really brilliant games, and then it's kind of revert back to type, really. And I think if you're fighting for titles or aspiring for that, we need greater, higher levels of consistency, if I'm honest. Big up, DG. Been studying a master's degree at uni, so I've missed a lot of your live streams, but happy to be back engaging now during my break. Smash the like button and big up yourself on the master's degree, my dude, man. Hit the like button when you join the live streams. DG is excellent when it comes to Arsenal content, honest views, and a friendly community built up. Let's make sure his channel grows. I appreciate that, man. And I have to say sorry to you lot, because one goal this year was 70,000 subscribers and I failed, and I'm not gonna lie, keeps a guy up at night. I had a little tear about it yesterday because I let you lot down, but we keep going. Big up DG FM Redemption today, 4:30 Twitch gang. We will be playing Football Manager. Listen, let's deal with that at 4:30, man. I don't even want to talk, man. I'm still angry with a lot of those players, if I'm honest with you, man. Big up the Back of the Net podcast. Again, if you like Arsenal content, go and follow him on YouTube and that. Big up the Instagram crew as well. It's a bit weird because for me to see what you're saying on Instagram, I actually have to click into Instagram. So Instagram and StreamYard need to fix that up. I'm opposed to selling most squad members in January except Cedric. He can dip immediately. I'm not going to lie. Cedric can bust out, really and truly. He can cut. But at the same time, if I remove the fact that I don't rate Cedric, the fact that I don't think he should be here, the fact of I don't even know why he was signed in the first place, and Arsenal need defensive bodies. Do I believe in Cedric when he plays? 100%, I don't. But we need bodies. And in theory, yes, he's on the peripheral and he weren't really counted this season and things like that. But you might just keep him around. His contract's running out anyways, really. But this is the problem. We've seen this already, man. We've seen this a lot of times, man. But we need to keep the bunch of the squad. As I said, if whoever wants to cut in January, in the summer, do what needs to be done if that's what you're on, people. Let's start getting into the news now. I wouldn't say the boring part, but before we look at transfer news, I really want to read Mikel Arteta's press conference on the Super League, which again Arsenal have issued a statement like every other club and said forget all of that. He's obviously said we've made our position clear. On team news, Thomas Partey is still finalising his rehab, which shows that Partey might be going off to play for Ghana in the AFCON. That's why he was selected, and we might get to see him at some point before he does such. He still hasn't trained with the team yet. Shows he's a long way off. Mohamed El Nene will hopefully join us this afternoon to see how he feels about it. For the rest, no news. Jorginho still a doubt. Boy, that means probably a couple of young players going to be on the bench, innit? Whatever you say about El Nene, Partey, Jorginho, you add into the fact that there is no Timber and no Tomiyasu, you're more vital, experienced players rocking up at Anfield, which is going to be a tough ask. It's a bit scary, isn't it? On Saturday night, under the lights at Anfield, it's going to be a special atmosphere. Obviously, the two teams are in a great moment, in a really good position. I don't look at the league table, so I don't know what Arteta is suggesting there. Really strong position. Both teams, I'm sure, are prepared the game to win it and to go for it, and it's going to be an intense match. And I mean, couldn't tell you the last time in the league we won at Anfield. It's about time that stops, in it. We're due a win, man. Like, they've had our number, like, really and truly. And I don't need to remind you lot of Mo Salah, Firmino, Mane, even Jota. There are many L's we have taken specifically at Anfield. And it's the first of, it's a trilogy against Liverpool, really, because, you know, we're playing them 3 times this season. We've got them early into the new year, obviously in the FA Cup at the Emirates. And then we have the Premier League game at the Emirates. And I know you can't win them all, but how good would it be to at least, you know, take 4 to 6 points off them in the league and obviously go through to the next round of the FA Cup. On the chance to be top of the table at Christmas, it's always great to be in the highest position in the league. We've been here before, especially in this league. We'll try to maintain that, and to do that tomorrow, we're going to have to play really well. compete extraordinarily well, and be very intelligent be very intelligent to manage the moments of the game as well. Obviously, you would have seen Jurgen Klopp's issued a rally cry. Sounds like Pep Guardiola demanding atmosphere at Anfield. You know, it's dark arts, man. He wants it to be a madness, really. And I don't know how I feel. Obviously, Anfield, crazy ground. The atmosphere is the atmosphere. But I'm not being funny. Aston Villa was a dangerous atmosphere. We coped with that. You know, Luton to a degree was that. We coped with that. Newcastle would definitely be described with that. And I don't think we lost or dropped points because of the atmosphere. Every Premier League great ground that you go into is going to be like this. So I think it's about time we isolate it away from Anfield and stop playing on that. And at the end of the day, the players on the pitch dictate whether the fans make noise or not. If, you know, the first 20, 25, half an hour at Anfield, silent. Obviously, there's going to be times Liverpool are going to have us under the cosh, heart in mouth moments, going to need Raya to do something, going to need some last-ditch tackles. The fans are going to be riled up, but that is football. Just stick to the job. If everybody individually takes care of their job, then the collective takes care of itself. So big up Anfield, and I can't downplay it, and I can't talk it up enough, but I'm tired of hearing about that. At the end of the day, the fans aren't playing, are they? Like the players, and you know, anyone that's played Sunday League is very different. But if you've played in hostile environments, and I can tell you as a fullback, because as a fullback it's worse, because on the sideline you're hearing nonsense and whatnot. You still just get on with the game, really. And this is the scenario we wanted to be in. We wanted to go into Anfield in games like this, talking about league titles and stuff. And even on the topic of atmospheres, you know, we went to Lens. I don't think we lost because of the atmosphere. You know, the atmosphere away at Sevilla in the group stages. Now, obviously, these teams are not of the same standard of Liverpool, but you get the point. It's long talking about that now, man. Arteta did say, though, that's a question for him. The way we're going to prepare the game is what we have to do to play better than them, to beat them, and to focus on our supporters as well. And I'm sure that a lot of them are going to show up tomorrow there, and they're going to be supporting the team like always. On if he was surprised by his comments, I don't know. I have enough to think about with the team and how we're going to prepare the game to win it. I'm sure privately Arteta's got an opinion, but you know how it is. Arteta blinks and there's think pieces and whatnot, people. On celebrating 4 years in the job this week, and if he'd have taken where we are now, I'm sure I would, but we still haven't won enough important things, and we want to be better and we want to be more successful. There are a lot of things that we have achieved together in those 4 years, but thanks to the people that have been on the journey with us together and the ones that were behind us as well. On his favourite memories at Anfield, winning there as always. Last time when we beat them, which was a while ago, that was a really good moment and something to replicate tomorrow. Now, again, we've beaten them a couple of times in the League Cup and that, but in the Prem, it's mad. Now, last season was very disappointing because, yeah, I would have taken a point, but in how it all transpired, it was unacceptable. And I don't know personally how I feel about Arsenal in big games this season. Obviously, we beat United, beat City. I'm always going to take that. Courageous to turn the result around against Chelsea, but I don't know, man, because Aston Villa, I think there was positives, but fundamentally we lost because we couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Kind of the same logic with Newcastle. Shot ourselves in the foot against Chelsea and Spurs. I want to see something at Anfield because at this moment in time on Friday, we've got to go Anfield, we've got to go Etihad, we still got to go Brighton. You know, we still got to go White Hart Lane. We've got, you know, people can say what they want about Man United, Old Trafford. I've seen my team win the league there, but that's a stadium we struggle at in the Premier League for whatever reason. You know, maybe Sir Alex Ferguson tax. Now's time to put down a marker. Do I believe if we win against Liverpool, it's a statement? I believe yes and no. I think obviously the Anfield stuff, people are going to make noise about that, rightly so. So I do think it's a statement. It shows you can compete. But if anything, the statement was made against beating City. Now, if we beat them away, that's different. But we beat the league leaders. For me, it will show that we can compete. And yeah, it is a bit of a statement, really and truly. You're letting people know we're here to stay, really. For me, boy, it's a 6-pointer. Liverpool are not going to be happy after dropping 2 points against United, you know, and some of the times they've dropped points this season. This is a chance to, obviously, indirectly, I guess it has a bearing on the Premier League title, but it's not like we lose this, we're out, or Liverpool win and they win it. But it's a 6-pointer, really and truly, and you want to see yourself compete against rivals, really. So, yeah. He then said, no, every game is different. They have a really peculiar way of playing like Brighton had and like Villa had. Every game is prepared in a different way. The context is different. The atmosphere is something that is important to understand as well. But we now have the experience of what we did last year, and that has worked for big parts of the game. And that's a lot of things that we have to replicate, and some others that we have to do better to win tomorrow. Make sure if Liverpool mess around, it's not good enough to get 2, 3, 4. You know, 1 or 2. You need to get 3, 4. Liverpool is Liverpool's like the boogeyman, innit? You have to eliminate them. Like you can't just beat them up and leave them. They have to be exterminated. Liverpool love coming back from the dead, as they did. You know, the first half an hour, I would say last year, someone needed to pinch me. We're dreaming, we're pressing high, we're attacking. Anfield is quiet, we're doing what we need to do. Second half, well, better yet, towards the end of the first half, and second half, we was at Liverpool's mercy. Big up Ramsdale and Salah for missing a penalty. Football's a 90-minute game. We know there's going to be 10, 15, 20-minute passages where it's all Liverpool. Trent's doing what he's doing. Mohamed Salah against Zinchenko is probably going to keep us all up at night. But lose the battles, win the war. We need to leave with something. So yeah, on if he prefers playing or managing at Anfield, I don't know, to be fair. I always say there's nothing like playing, but as well, there's something about managing when you feel that cohesion between the team, that chemistry between the players, and the team producing what was in your brain. I don't think it gets much better than that. On playing well for 28 minutes last season, he said 28, mamma mia, I thought it was 27. Nice to see Arteta's got a sense of humor. On how he'll manage the squad state of mind after Xhaka's approach last season. I mean, if it wasn't Xhaka, but it's a big game. If it wasn't Xhaka against Trent, it might have been Salah against this guy. Bro, any other game, nothing's going to be said about that. It's not nonsense, but I mean, come on. Like, we lost that game or dropped points because of naiveties, really and truly. We need to manage all the games, but granted, Xhaka did that in many games and we won, and no one talks about that, amen. So it's a little bit sometimes too simplistic, I agree. There are certain things, obviously, that we have to manage very well in big games, and the emotional state is something that is crucial when you're playing against big opponents away from home, which we've shown, and of course. There are certain things that we didn't manage very well. The way we allowed them to run, especially after a few things that we didn't do well enough, things that we have to correct and be much better at. Because when they get that momentum and space, they are a really dangerous team. But as well, we had some big situations, even after those moments, that we could have killed the game. There you have it, killed the game. And we didn't. And when you have the opportunity to do that, you have to do it. And again, especially in games of this magnitude and games like Liverpool, smash the like button and join the discussion, people. On the team's progress, he said it's something to reflect on. But now we are in competition. I think you leave the pressing in a really intense way and you look for ways to be better and to improve, to evolve the club, the team, yourself individually as well as a manager, how you can be better for this group with the team's demands. But overall, I'm really pleased with what is happening around the club, with the people that we work with and how people feel, and how especially our people feel with how we're doing. Don't really want to waffle about the Super League, people, on if it's better to play this fixture now than later in the season. You could say that, but end of the day, everyone's got to play everyone twice, innit? At least we know our fate, really. If you ask me, I would have loved to have had the Etihad, Anfield, Old Trafford, White Hart Lane, Brighton away, 100%, Villa and Newcastle and Chelsea, which we already done. I want the away games out the way as soon as possible because I kind of back us at home. I know the Emirates is filled with drama, but I mean, there's nothing like being in your own house, innit, really and truly. He said it's something that we cannot pick. It's around the Christmas period. It's under the floodlights. It's going to be a special night. It's always great to go to Anfield, so we're looking forward to it. I don't know if it's always great, but let's hope so. On if he has to talk to the players about keeping their heads, how can you? Your emotion. Obviously, don't let your emotion run you, but if somebody clamps you and you get fired up, use that really and truly. Because if Arsenal come into it and we're very cool, calm, collective, people are going to say we ain't got no heart. If we, are a bit aggressive and things, people are going to say that we're too emotional. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's about channeling it in the right way. The 22 players that start, they're going to be filled with emotion. We know Trent's a bit of a hothead. We know Van Dijk, is going to do a lot. So we're going to have to do a thing really and truly. They know they've experienced that for many years now. For this group of players, it's the third or fourth time they've been there. A few years ago, it was the first time for most of them, and maybe you have to clarify and explain certain things, and I don't think that's necessary now. And 100%, whether some of these players play for their countries, played for Arsenal for a long time, been in the Premier League, you know what time it is. This obviously is different, but this is no different from the away games we've already stepped in this season. Play the game, not the occasion. Or even, in fact, play the occasion, relish it. It's a privileged position if we are fighting Liverpool and City and all these teams for a Premier League trophy. But he's right. They've experienced it. Allow it. On if we will have a more attacking plan compared to Man United, well, we will have the game plan to beat them and to leave Anfield with 3 points. That's the way we're going to prepare for the game for sure. On if he knew last season's game at Anfield would impact the title race, no, it was that run of games after when we had a few draws in a row as well. That was part of it. I hear you, but I also think the Liverpool one and Brentford draw. We had moments that we could have killed the game to come away with the 3 points, and we didn't. And in certain moments in the second half, we suffered in many moments to maintain that draw. Amen. On
if he would consider his 4 years a success so far. I'm really happy where we are and how we've achieved things, from how we've behaved through difficult times to good moments, and the involvement from everybody at the football club and how they feel they have participated building what we're doing. It's a joy to be here with these people, and we need to be better because we're not satisfied for sure. Hey, Arteta, how long is this? Okay, not too long to go, people. Don't want to speak about the Super League or any of that. If there's a change in his management that has impacted our discipline. It's true, this is a period you try to coach the team in the best possible way to be efficient. You don't want to foul. We want to win the ball as high as possible, which would be lovely, especially against Trent and Van Dijk and all of them, nullifying the opponent's strength as much as we possibly can. And we want to be dominant, that's for sure. There are certain things that the quality of players allows you to do certain things better than with others. And as well, I think this period is very important as well, and understanding what you have to do in each area of the pitch, in each moment of the game. And that's something that, in my opinion, we can improve. On Gabriel and Saliba, I think they clicked straight away. That's something that I was really hopeful for, because when you talk about partnerships, chemistry is key. There's an understanding. They complement each other in a great way. Everybody has a role, and it's very clear and well accepted. They're getting better and better. Still super young for the position that they play in, and they can still get better. On the chance to get his first win as a manager at Anfield, obviously he's going to want to do that. I don't know for silencing the crowd. You know, if you play well, you will silence the crowd. If you look like you're there for the taking, obviously Liverpool fans are going to get all on top of you, or you might be doing nothing wrong. They might be vexed with their team, and naturally that's going to G them on. If the players have to accept there'll be periods where they can't control the game, you're going to have to suffer in every game. How you go through those moments together, how do you do it? How do you overcome that moment? That's a big thing. And last year we went through those moments, especially in the second half, and we had some big difficulties to get over them. They extended for a period that was too long, and you have to be able to turn those periods around and come back to the state of the game that you want. On what it takes to turn those moments around, you try to teach them certain things that you can do, but especially have the ball as far as possible from goal and be dominant in areas that you want to be dominant, and that's it. Sometimes it's credit to the opponent that they have managed to do that to you, and you're struggling together in that position. Again, leave the guy alone with all these Super League comments. What's going on with the press? But anyways, lastly, he said, I don't know, whatever decision is of any club and everybody in football, and what we are involved in is two things. One is the soul of this game, which is our supporters, because they are what makes this game possible, and the players. Look after those two in the best possible way. I think that's our responsibility, and every decision has to be focused on those two aspects, especially, and then to have a game that promotes integrity and the beauty of the game and try to find it. Again, Arsenal issued a club statement where they've said, obviously, they've distanced themselves from the Super League and kind of indirectly condemned it. I'm sure you've all seen that. Trossard has spoken about the game as well. People said it's always good if you can win against any team, but if you win this one, I think it's more about the statement we will give. I think we have shown that against Brighton and other really good sides, how we can play, be so dominant and win the game. That's what we want to do as well at Anfield. We approach every game wanting to win, and it's the same for this one coming up. Obviously, we know how good they are, especially at home. It's like a special atmosphere, but I think we are at our best. We can compete with them at their place and win the game as well. I hear that. And then he said, I think it's about game management. If you're 2-0 up, you can't just give it away. We know it's Anfield, and with the atmosphere there, they believe and score goals up until the last minute. Yep. And even when you look at the amount of shots that they had against Man United, which it's in 2030, so there's going to be a lot of pressure. But also the Man United game was the first time, I believe, in 25, 26 consecutive games at Anfield, I think they said, where they have struggled to score. So we know we're probably not going to keep a clean sheet. We know they're going to present chances. I just hope we're efficient in both boxes. You need to put balls in the back of the net. You need to kind of, not allow as many goals as possible, really. And Szoboszlai seems to love shooting from outside the area. Don't let him. We know Salah's going to give us nervy moments. We know Trent is going to invert. We should be nervous and scared in a good way of what they could do. But also, it's not like we're rocking up with Rob Holding and things. We've got players that are problematic. Martinelli versus Trent is probably the one everyone looks at, if not Zinchenko and Salah. Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Jesus in particular. I need you lot to stand up to be counted, because how we press, how we win the ball back, how we suffocate them, and you lot are more or less the spine is required. Zinchenko, bring your A game. I'm not expecting you to be spot on defensively, but you went outside last year. You was crying in that. You got nutmegged in the last minute. Stand up to be counted. The Wolves are out. David Raya, please. This is the game where I don't want to see my keeper in a great way. I would love to not have anything to say about Raya, but we're going to need you to do a madness. And I like Raya. I like his passing range and all of that. But if I'm honest with you, I haven't been moved by anything. I don't think, obviously, I don't think it's been fair to Raya. He stepped into Arsenal and it's the whole Ramsdale, him scenario. I don't think it's healthy. Obviously, you know, respectfully to Brentford, from you make that move to Brentford to Arsenal, everything down to the clothes you wear is going to be scrutinized. But I haven't seen that David Raya that was heralded as one of the best keepers in the Prem. Every time I've needed my keeper to do just traditional goalkeeping stuff, I'm left wanted more. That's not to say he hasn't made good and big saves, but Luton comes to mind. City, you weren't at your best. Spurs, I think you weren't at your best. Chelsea, obviously, the Mudryk thing as well. So, gonna need our players to stand up to be counted, man, without a doubt. But I don't think anybody's saying anything different there. And I don't think anyone will disagree with what Trossard said. Lastly, he said, I think this year it's a bit more spread out over the teams and everyone can beat everyone at the moment instead of one or two teams sitting at the top competing with each other. That's the nice thing about the Premier League. It's so competitive. We're just happy that we're in a really good spot going into this game. We always try to do our own job, and that's winning games. And that's what we want to do every week. Try to win games, be as good as possible. I think we're doing that at the moment, even with the fixtures we've had and the amount of games we're playing. We try to manage that. And I think we're in a really good moment. I don't think anybody can disagree. And again, you know, you look at the recent records, courtesy of this website. Obviously, we're not going to go back to the 1930s, but if we stop around, what, maybe 2012-ish kind of realm, where is it? 2012-ish? Oh, yeah, 2012-ish. But hey, look, last time we beat them was like 2012, innit? Oh, no, tell a lie. We beat them in the FA Cup. We sent to do all right in cups at Anfield. We've won the league at their ground, but it's not nice, is it? It's not nice. Klopp hasn't lost at home to Arsenal. It's unacceptable, man. Obviously, Tomiyasu and Partey are still set out. Allegedly, the Evening Standard are saying, or the Standard are saying, Arsenal hope to have Tomiyasu, Partey, and El Nene available for the FA Cup third round clash with Liverpool. The trio are currently out injured, but progressing well and hope to play on January the 7th before they head off on international duty. Great stuff. The minute you fit, you're busting out. As we know, Tomiyasu's representing Japan. He'll go off to the Asia Cup, representing them. Obviously, Partey will be playing for Ghana at AFCON, people. El Nene's been out since last week after pulling his hamstring at PSV. To be expected, hasn't played too much football and has had a lengthy layoff, people. So it is what it is. Partey once again has been named in the Ghanaian provisional squad. I'd imagine Son Heung-min is going and representing South Korea at the Asian Cup. Something tells me if you're Spurs, you're kind of trying to start dialogue with obviously what would you even call it, the South Korean FA, to see when Son actually goes off. You kind of want to delay it. Say, yeah, you can link them for the tournament, but you have to go straight away. If that does happen, Japan, you need to do us a favor where Tomiyasu is concerned, man, if I'm honest. Play the game and not the occasion, and all the emotion from the crowd dies. We have managed to do that a lot, and it has helped us. Hopefully we do it. Arsenal fans getting giddy. The clock is ticking. Marcel, if we win, unfollow me. I'm going to be unbearable because I ain't been replying, but mental notes have been being stored. We got no time or patience for players that aren't good enough. It's like 20 years since we won the Premier League. It's ridiculous now. Too dependent on deadweight players. Enough of that. I watched the press conference earlier. It's an interesting one. Not bad or anything, but it was high energy in a good way. It's the Christmas time, man. Let's go, man. Like, it's about time, man. You better put the nail in the coffin if you get the chance, or else it's peak. I'm telling you, don't count your chickens, and that's it. And I do think both teams really, you know, Liverpool are known of that. You know, the team that comes back from the dead, few years ago, Barcelona at Anfield comes to mind, and there's plenty of other examples. I think in the last 12, 18 months, we've done that. We've been doing that this season, really. You know, we haven't been good at times, but we got something at Luton. We got it at Brentford. We last-minute winner, if I'm not mistaken, at City, and similar logic with Chelsea. I don't want it to be that way, but I think we've got a bit of that. But you are right. Liverpool's a team you have to kill. It's not like any other Prem team. You know, 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline. Obviously, when it was 2-1, we played with fire. Had Salah put that penalty away, or Ramsdale weren't doing a madness, who knows, really? Football's a 90-minute game. Win the war, man. Hey, Marcel's my guy. It's banter, man. Chill out. Everybody, chill out. Chill out. Chill out. Chill out. Chill out, man. Chill out. Everybody, Marcel, chill. This year, I want to beat the CL level teams in the PL. Anfield is all of that. That will tell me that we've got over a mental block. Because it can't be nice. You know, some of you have, obviously we beat Liverpool last year at the Emirates, but some of you have been rocking up for the last few years at Anfield in the Prem and not leaving with something. It can't be nice. So again, it's not a thing where we beat Liverpool. Oh my God, we're serious now, this and that. But it will show me that we can get over that mental block, that we can be competitive when it matters, that we can grind out results, and that we can end the sort of hoodoo really and truly. You know, it's these games where you see how good you really are. Let's be honest. You know, we've been good this season. But even when we've battered teams and it's been one-way traffic, there's been periods the game could have went left, or moments we could have done better, or we could have scored earlier. It's games like Arsenal, when you play Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, but historically Man United, I would not say Spurs because they've never done it. The margins are there. This is where you see your true level. And like, as I said, the players should relish it, man. It's a that thing. Asia Cup starts on the 12th of Jan. Tommy Asu, say you're sick, man. You can go on the 15th or something like that, man. DG taking Gallagher. I would, you know, on a cheap little loan for the squad. I don't think he moves me, but he's Premier League proven. He's English. You'd be another, you know, you would be kind of the second choice. 6, you can come on and help us close out games. I'm not against it. I need ruthlessness in the forward lines against Alisson, and White needs to wake up. That's the thing, though. I hear you, and you're right. We do need to be ruthless. And we've shown in little bits and pieces we can do that. But would you describe Arsenal as ruthless? You know, being ruthless kind of tends in towards being clinical. Gabriel Jesus is a great player. We're going to need him, pardon me, to be spot on defensively. We're going to need him. One sec. H2O, people, allow me. But we're going to need him to do all that Gabriel Jesus stuff. But if you're being ruthless, you need to be clinical. So if Jesus gets those chances, is he going to? Martinelli seems to need a few, and it's, you know, it's not like he's, you know, putting them in for fun this season. The whole team. This is why I always say, as much as I like the fact that goals are spread out, we got 80 odd last season, we probably got 20, 30 now. I like that. But when you start to look at the nuts and bolts, who's really a cold-hearted killer in the team? If anything, it'd probably be Saka, because if anyone's been doing it for the last couple of years, it's been you. And these are the games you're going to need to do that, man. Hey, be nice in the chat, man. Be nice in the chat. Be nice in the chat, my friends, man. Be nice. Big up everyone, obviously, on Instagram as well. Be nice, man. Be nice. Be nice. This is our time. Too much lose it. I think you mean defeats basically at Anfield. This is time to make a statement. It's true, but even if we win at Liverpool, of course, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be gassed. I've been getting onto people like Marcel, but I think just need to stay calm. You know, it'd be lovely to beat City and Liverpool too. Well, the two teams who have last won the Premier League, it would show me, all right, we're moving in the right direction. You know, but we still need to keep going. There's a lot of football to be played this month. There's already been a lot of football in the Premier League. What? It's been 17, 18 game weeks. A week is a long time in football. You know, what every fan, whether you're an Arsenal fan or not, what the talking points or sentiment around your club in August might not be what's being said now. So we just need to keep going, not get excited, man. Sad part is Partey is only fit during international breaks or AFCON when we need him. He's injured. Wait. These men were toothless against us. DG don't believe the hype. Respectfully to Man United, though, Klopp's going to demand that they improve, because they dropped 2 points against you lot. Obviously, Arsenal took 3 points. City dropped points. It's a top 6 game. With the greatest of respect to Man United, obviously Liverpool are better than you. And credit to Man United, whatever you did, you shut up shop. You kept a clean sheet at Anfield. Out of all the madness that Ten Hag's done, that's one thing you could say. How many times have people, even me, I don't expect, even if we win, to keep a clean sheet. But in the same way I believe in football, like Liverpool's here, United are here. Liverpool dropped down a level. They dropped to your level. I'm not buoying it, because at the end of the day, you got a point. Sometimes that happens. That's therefore happened with Arsenal. But at the same time, you know, United are there, Arsenal are here, Liverpool are up here as well. They're going to need to raise their game. You know, Klopp, I don't know if he was doing mind games, you know, Scouser mind games, really, you know, in the post conference about the atmosphere and stuff. But we're going to need to stand up to be counted. You should be nervous, Andy, man. You should be nervous, anxious. We're human. It's about channeling that. If you didn't feel these things, you wouldn't be alive. You wouldn't feel alive. You know, everybody gets these things. But it's about challenging it. It's fight or flight now. If you're backed into a corner and someone's about to take your life, do you close your eyes and whatever happens, happens? Or do you fight back? No, United just played their game and got a result. I don't think United necessarily played well, if I'm honest. I think Liverpool weren't playing at their best. Obviously, they weren't clinical as well. I know Van Dijk sitting there and saying, oh, only one team came to play football. I mean, it sounds a bit privileged, really, if I'm honest with you. And, you know, if United tried to go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, they would have got annihilated. And fundamentally, whatever they did, they left Anfield with something. So it all worked. But I do think Liverpool were not at their best. I genuinely believe that. And I think Klopp is going to want a reaction. That's why he made those comments. And I'm pretty sure he would have said that in the aftermath of the United game and let them know what time it is, man. This game with Liverpool is going to be the ultimate test for defender pairings and Rice. We'll see if they're on that legendary level. I don't think anybody in this Arsenal team is legendary yet. And if they have a bad game, I'm not saying you're saying this, but if they have a bad game, it doesn't change how I feel about them. If they have a good game, it doesn't change how I feel about them. But yeah, I agree. Liverpool is poor. DG and the rest, you man will have to be subs in my team. You man worry about man shadow and all irrelevant crap. Arsenal just need to play games. I promise you, don't make me start calling people that used to play for AFC Edmonton and wrongins. I'm someone that if you get into problems in the rave, you want me. I'm someone that if we're all dying, we're dying, really and truly. I'm a man for the trenches, really and truly. And that's why I like to worry. You know, only the paranoid in life survive. I like to know somebody's weaknesses and strengths and how I'm going to mitigate against that. You know, good thing I don't play for your team, man. I feel like Kyrgios is going to start centre back and Gabriel left back. I'm not really for that. Kyrgios, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Between Kyrgios and Zinchenko, I'd probably lean towards Zinchenko because, you know, whatever you say about him, you're captain of your country. You've been in the Premier League for a lot of years. If I'm completely honest with you, you've played for City. Be serious. Gabriel is going to have to pull out into that left-hand channel and help defend against Salah, because obviously Zinchenko in the foot race is going to get annihilated. There are going to be times, you know, I don't want everyone to do this thing where obviously Zinchenko is shaky defensively, but I don't want everyone to do this thing where, you know, Salah gets past him once, he's rubbish. Bro, he's a quality player. He's going to get past you. Win the war. You will lose a battle. He gets past you. Make sure it's not a decisive action. And for me, it is more, for me, the transition. Both teams are superb on the transition. Both teams are quality of, you know, taking advantage of the gaps and the spaces that are left. And naturally, Zinchenko and Trent going to leave a lot of space. Both teams play a high line. You know, it's a good foot race. Saka against Tsimikas, Trent against Martinelli. And, you know, going both ways, really. So it'd be a good game. If there's fighting, I'm running. Listen, run if you want to run in it. But I know man can't tell. I worry about teams. And I wouldn't say in a day and age of Premier Leagues where it's about fine margins, I think you have to worry about everything. So social joins is my guy, but I think that's a very simplistic way of looking at things. But ignorance is bliss. Liverpool were overconfident. They paid the price. I do think there was an element of that in their game as well. 3 points would be a nice milestone, but on to the next. Bowen, Kudus, Paqueta will make us work next week. But hey, games ain't getting any easier. Midweek. I want revenge on West Ham after, obviously, they beat us in the League Cup. Thank you for Declan Rice as well, man. To repay the favour, I say we run them Cedric. David Ornstein has been speaking about transfer news and whatnot, people, allegedly. So let's see what he said. Recent years show Arsenal are not afraid of doing business in January, and they'll be alert again, depending on usual considerations such as injuries, profitability, and sustainability rules and opportunities in the next window. Last summer spending meant the signing of Raya from Brentford needed to be done on loan with an obligation to buy, which shows Arsenal were in a tight spot around PSR. Once adequate finances are available, the Raya deal must be turned permanent. Again, you're right. I mean, let's scroll the way down, really and truly. Again, Ornstein went on to say the most obvious candidate to exit might be Ramsdale. Any goalkeeper in his position will want regular football, especially given the desire to get into England's Euro 2024 squad. Though there have been no significant movements yet, nor are there any certain to materialize. While plenty of speculation has focused on Arsenal's potentially recruiting a striker that is more plausible in the summer, nothing is developed regarding Ivan Toney, and it would take a massive bid to change that. In particular, you know, with Mbeumo being out for around 3 months now with an ankle injury. Even if Osimhen, Benjamin Sesko and Ivan Ferguson are among those admired by Arsenal and in brackets many other clubs, it's not anticipated that they will land at the Emirates Stadium soon. Activity in midfield probably relies on someone leaving or the fitness situation deteriorating. For both reasons, we should keep an eye on Partey and Jorginho, but it's more realistic to imagine their futures being decided after the campaign has ended. Arsenal explored the idea of Martin Zubiamendi of Sociedad 12 months ago, and interest remains strong. However, multiple factors would have to combine to make it happen. Despite his contract including a release clause, the Spaniard would have to agree to go. That has been a stumbling block in the past and may prove a bigger problem given Sociedad are in the Champions League round of 16. Cover at the back offers another dilemma. The absences of Timber and Tomiyasu at fullback, where Partey is also featured, arguably makes defense the area worthiest of strengthening. But when everyone is fit, Arsenal are well stocked. When and ifs, these are crazy things. So no guarantees, but it would not be a total shock if there was a reinforcement here, perhaps on a short-term basis. Nobody cares about Liverpool's transfer news necessarily. Arsenal chasing £52 million rated Sporting Lisbon Gonzalo Inacio after spate of defensive injuries. We've just seen about FFP. Sporting got a lot of players that I wanted. There's their striker, Diamande, who was linked with us, and now my man. Is he leaving in January? If we're allegedly broke, Where are we finding 52 million to activate a release clause? Because that's the only way Sporting, in my opinion, do business. If he wants to F off in the summer, he'll F off in the summer. But apparently Arsenal are keeping tabs on him, which, for what it's worth, I like him. He'd be a lovely left-sided centre-back option to have, really and truly. And we know we've got injuries and whatnot. It doesn't really say much. Apparently, Arteta, is likely to prioritise reinforcements at the back in the summer with the 22-year-old central defender, someone the North Londoners are monitoring. He made his Sporting debut in 2020, people, as a teenager, and his stock has risen since. He won his first cap back in March for Portugal. So surely he wants to stay fit, stay in his homeland, and then make a move after the Euros. He's got a £52 million release clause, people. He's contracted until 2027. So unless there's serious negotiation, it's a bit of a myth where he is concerned. Once again, people, apparently Ornstein on Douglas Luiz said, I have no information to suggest they plan to do so, in brackets, attempt to sign him this time. Not everyone at Arsenal is fully convinced he's the right profile for them. We're getting into silly season because yesterday it was not Ornstein, but they were saying, oh, he's admired by everyone. He's the top target for the summer. Once again, we did explore the potential deal of Zubiamendi, but there's a lot of moving parts that would have to go. You know, Sesko, Ivan Ferguson, Osimhen, let me know who you'd prefer. They'd all be loved by me. I'd love Ivan Ferguson. Sesko would be a top target for me. Osimhen would be the big dog that we'd all love, but they're not arriving. Ornstein has said Ivan Toney will most likely stay at Brentford until at least the summer. No developments on his future. Allegedly, Arsenal are not interested in Dominic Solanke, and they're not planning on signing Luiz. He is not unanimously wanted at Arsenal Football Club. Saka, I can't lie, with this hairstyle, my bro, you got to turn up at Anfield. The Wolves are going to be onto you. Cooper Miners has been linked with Juventus. He's a midfielder I like. I'd love to see us explore that. Yesterday, we saw allegedly Brentford are happy to sell Toney to Arsenal in a structured deal, whatever that means. But apparently, they're prepared to sit down with Arsenal to structure a deal for Toney that would be paid over a number of installments. This would obviously allow Arsenal to be able to afford to sign Toney next month. We all know we've got a good relationship with Brentford, latest shown with David Raya. Any successful transfer would also be dependent on Arsenal meeting Brentford's asking price. Apparently, that price would lower to 55 million if Arsenal were prepared to pay in a straight payment. So unless we're going to use a loan against the 60-odd million that we've got in the Champions League, or there's going to be an injection of funds with Kroenke, or there's creative accounting, the Toney thing keeps going on, really. We've already gone over that. I won't bore you with that. Bournemouth allegedly remained defiant that Solanke is not for sale in January. Solanke is enjoying the best goal-scoring season of his Premier League career and has been linked with a move to title chase in Arsenal. Bournemouth will take a firm approach to the January window by insisting Solanke is not available at any price. Okay, I was reading that by myself. Don't know what this is. I don't think that's anything. We've gone over that. Hopefully we ain't missed anything, people. Have we missed anything? Not really. Not really. Big up you lot, people. Keep your thoughts and whatnot coming in. Chelsea have been linked with Diamande and Victor Gyökeres, who we've been linked with as well. I mean, apparently, I more want Diamande. I'll be vexed if he goes there. You want to go there? Fifana's stock has dropped. They gassed up Levi Colwill and Benashile or whatever, and Dizassi. Come, man, we got real lit guys. You could be a very lit option, but for what it's worth, Chelsea, have made contact with Sporting over a deal for the defender as they explore reinforcements in January, people, which I'm sure Arsenal got an eye on, but, you know, more so the defender, but I won't see that will happen. Once again, Klopp was gassing up Anfield fans and saying they need to bring their A game to the party on Saturday. So we're going to have to see exactly what's going on there. Should we see if there's anything emerging again with Arsenal Football Club? Let's go here. Let's change that to an hour. Preview settings. I mean, I could use that for when I do my tactical preview, which will come out at some point today. Get that as well. Always working for you lot, but it don't appear that there's anything of significance, if I'm completely honest, man. Hey, Uncle Voss, man, allow me, man. Trying to target all the platforms, man. Big up you lot, and I hope a Merry Christmas in advance, by the way, folks, as well, man. But yeah, what are you lot saying? What do you think of League? I'm not big him up, man. I don't know what you're asking me, you know. Shout out to him, innit? Make your content and that. I got time to discuss next, man. Big up Riley. I hope that we go for a defender. Hope we get Frimpong, because that means that either Zini or Ben White can play in the middle of the park in place of Jorginho and Partey. To be honest, I don't think you never know, but I don't think Arteta is keen on playing Zinchenko in midfield, Kirill in midfield, or Benjamin White, or we might have seen that already. Frimpong apparently has got a release clause that could be activated in the summer. I think Leverkusen, with what they're doing, probably want to hold on to him really until such. but he'd be a player I'd like to bring if we could. I'd like everyone, isn't it? Whether we've got the purse strings, who knows? Zinchenko starts. Kiwior is not ready. In this game, Martinelli will have to be at his best to help Zinni with cover. I think the key man will be Havertz on the left. Havertz, Zinchenko, Martinelli, Gabriel, big Gabriel pulling into that side, indirectly Declan Rice, Jesus and Odegaard. They're the names. It's Saka as well. Them are beyond the obvious. I need you lot to be spot on defensively and in terms of our structure and shape, or we don't have a chance, man. What's up with everyone dyeing their hair blonde in the squad? I don't know, man. You footballer, you got a lot of money in it. Probably don't know, you know, Christmas ain't going to set them back too much. Probably just need to spend money on something, really and truly. Honestly, I don't have a clue, man. As long as Saka shows up, I'm not going to lie, it's bad mind, yeah, and big up Saka. But when I saw that he dyed his hair, the first thought I thought is he's popped his cherry and he finally got some front, didn't he? You know, Saka's becoming a villain. We just need a cheating scandal and Saka's going to go up a level like George Best and Gaza and Merson and them. You know, we need that, really. Keep doing your thing, Saka. Make sure you're in church on Sunday regardless, man. So, yeah, man, I don't think there's anything else to discuss, people. So why bore you lot? In fact, what we got here? Chelsea are a club that hangs about like a bad smell. As soon as anyone shows an interest, they are hanging about, putting more money to bring the player to Stamford Bridge. They're like a child. You know when a child will be playing with toys. There's hella toys, you know, and obviously you got two hands. You can only play with one at once. And next child comes into the room and picks a toy that they're not even looking at and puts that in their hand. Suddenly they want to grab it. That's what Chelsea are like. But when you've got their purse strings, you can do what you want, I guess. Apparently, they have to sell before they can buy. I'm always wary of all that talk around Chelsea, Arsenal, and anyone in the Prem because nobody knows what's going on, if I'm completely honest with you. But yeah, man, as usual, big up you lot on you lot's comments, your talking points and everything. I've got nothing more to discuss. It's always appreciated being with you lot. They still got Chalobah. That's our madness. Would you be open to taking him on loan? So yeah, smash the like button. Make sure you're following. Merry Christmas in advance. Obviously, check out the other bits and pieces of content I've done. In fact, people, I'm moving bougie because I haven't even told you. Was it last week? Yeah, last week I went onto the Sun newspaper's YouTube channel. So yeah, check out that. Obviously, done that. And earlier today, you would have seen I did a video with Jess of She Knows Arsenal. So yeah, go and check out that. Obviously, Saturday we kick off at 5:30. I'll be live from 4:30, and there'll be some other videos in the intermediate future to come out from myself. So turn on your notification bells, follow on all the platforms. Big up all of you lot. But for now, peace. And Zinchenko, if you need any inspiration to turn it on in big games.
Against this right back, Charlie.
There's always just that active red flag defenders. I think it's like there's always just that active red flag defenders. I think it's like Tongue